Mr. Cardone, this is Vince Del Monte. One of your sales guys just called me and asked if I'd got any results since your 3-day sales boot camp, and I said, you better believe it. It's over $200,000 in 30 days.
Without that boot camp, we wouldn't have had a good system in place, and thanks to Grant and thanks to that boot camp, we went from 200,000 to 600,000.
And since that boot camp, man, my income went from about 6,000 now to 11,500, almost 12,000, and this is just starting, man.
I would recommend for anybody that is interested in increasing their sales, increasing their profit, they've got to get to the next boot camp.
Welcome. This is the Cardone Zone, and Thursday at noon, we do a show called Young Hustlers. My name's Jared Glant, and today's show is a very important show. It's very near and dear to my heart because I think that a lot of people get kind of pushed into or seduced, I guess is probably a better way of saying it, by the entrepreneur, you know? Everybody needs to be an entrepreneur. If you want to get rich and live your dream life, you got to be an entrepreneur. And I'm here to tell you, if you want to get rich, you can do it working for somebody else. And that's what today's show about, is how you can get rich working for somebody else. I have a little bit of experience with this. I'm not rich yet by my standards, maybe by some others. But like I've gone through the whole cycle from like completely broke, working with somebody for... I've been with Grant for almost 8 years now. When I really started cranking and getting into it, it took me probably 4 when I was serious to go from like broken in debt to millionaire. And all of you guys can do that as well. And first things first, you don't have to work for yourself in order to do this. This is a very important topic here, guys. If you have questions on this, you want me to help you how to figure out how you can become rich working for somebody else, call the number 305-865-8668, 305-865-8668. I think this is going to be my content platform that I operate on. How to get rich working for somebody else. Because it is possible. The number one thing that people think is that it's not possible to get rich working for somebody else. I've got some stats for you here. The average small business owner, the average entrepreneur makes $73,000 a year. Big money. 16% of millionaires inherited their money. 47% of millionaires are small business owners, entrepreneurs. And 23% of millionaires got that way through paid work. That doesn't make up 100. I don't know where the other 14% are. But it looks like here, if you're a small business owner, you got a 47% millionaire rate. And if you're a worker like me, you got a 23% millionaire penetration rate. So look, like if you want to become rich working for somebody else, you just have to have a plan. I'm going to walk you through what I did to not only like identify the opportunity where I was at, but also start figuring out the next steps that I needed to take. Because if all you do is you scroll through a social media feed or you listen to some of the stuff that people are talking about, it's really easy to get brought into this whole, I don't have a shot at getting rich working for somebody else. And then you start looking out, you're like, hey, how do I create my own business? How can I go start a social media agency? Or how can I go start a business of widgets? I don't know whatever it would be. But But you get seduced by this message because they're saying, hey, look, you're going to work for somebody else's dreams your whole life if you're an employee. That ain't true, man. I show up and work for my dreams every single day. I work for somebody who's provided a great opportunity and a great facility for me to do that in, and I love working with the guy, right? So, like, you got to get your head right. Too many people have already made the decision that they cannot get rich because they work for somebody else. I'm living proof that it's happening right now, and you can do the same thing. Now, I will tell you that there is a massive confront that you need to have with yourself if you want to make it big. Now, when we talk about this show, when we talk about information, when I talk about things that I like am recommending to do, I have goals. Like, I want to be worth at least $100 million. I know that for a fact. So my mode of operation is going to be to hit $100 million. Now, maybe for you, $1 million's enough. I'd tell you it's not. Or you think that 10 million is enough, then, you know, look through the lens that makes the most sense for you. But I know that if I get to 100 million, that is like completely indestructible wealth as long as you're not a freaking knucklehead. So when I make decisions and when I do things and when I have to make choices, I'm doing it because I know how big of a target I'm moving forward to. Here's the big confront. The reality is most people are not willing to make the sacrifices necessary to get where they want to go. They can say, I want to make it rich. They can make some posts. They can, carry themselves a certain way or shoot pictures of this or that. But when rubber meets the road and it comes time to make some hard decisions that'll put you on track to making it big, then most people fail to make the correct decision and they actually pull back and they actually retreat because it's a narrow path that only few can walk. And it's not gratifying. It takes a long time to start feeling some of the gratification. Most people are too impatient for that. It takes sacrifices. It takes, that whole fear of missing out thing. Somebody hit me up on Instagram, which if you follow me on Instagram, @JaredGlant, I try to answer every DM that people send me. So if you have questions, that's a great place to hit me up as well. They're like, hey, is FOMO a real thing? I'm like, yeah, FOMO is a real thing. The only difference is the successful people have the ability to discard it, or handle it, or deal with it, or do the right thing despite the fact that they feel like they're going to miss out on something that's going on with their friends or whatever over here. Don't make a decision for a weekend, make a decision for the rest of your life. #that, son. So look, number one, owning your own business is not the only way to get rich. I promise you, because I'm doing it right now. Number two, you have to know the math. First step of that is the math equation is you've got to be in the right vehicle. We have entire shows based around this whole thing. If you haven't seen those shows, just go back and Google Young Hustlers, how to find the right vehicle. Because if you're not in the right vehicle, it will be really hard for you to get rich and make it big. It's just the reality of the situation. If the top performing people in the organization are making 70 or 80 grand a year, then it's not going to be real for you. If you work in one of these small businesses where your average income of the owner is $73,000, you're probably not going to become a multimillionaire working there unless you win the lottery. So number one, you've got to find the right, or number two, you've got to find the right vehicle. There has to be the opportunity. There has to be a driver in the seat with his foot on the gas, rolling, willing to give you the opportunity. 10? Okay. So when we come back from the break, I'm going to dig back into this one more thing so I can tell you about the 40% rule because it makes all the difference in the world. This is Young Hustlers.
Are you tired of buying ads? How much would 5 times more visitor from search engines like Google or Bing do for your business? Link Research Tools helps you increase that free organic traffic. We have offerings to get your business to become the dominant force on the internet. The secret of internet traffic is what we give you. We convert that traffic into cash flow for your business. Learn more at linkedresearchtools.com. That's linkedresearchtools.com and sign up now. Wealth Dynamics believes everyone has the God-given right to own their potential. Most of us don't because we spend 40 hours per week serving the 40-year-to-life sentence, trading our precious time for worthless paper called money. We live on an economic planet and time and money do need to be exchanged, but it doesn't need to be your time or your money. We teach our clients to secure income producing assets that make the time and money exchange for you so you can buy your freedom back and live a life of abundance and prosperity. To get there, we must know how to make money, how to keep it, and how to multiply it. Wealth Dynamics provides coaching, education, accountability, and community to help you build wealth. Join our coaching program, get educated on Wealth Dynamics University, and begin networking with the Wealth Dynamics Mastermind Group today. To get started, go to wealthdynamics.com. There's only one company to work for in the smart home industry, Skyline Security. There is only one company to work for in the smart home industry, Skyline Security. Right now is looking for the best of the Grant Cardone following to join.
Hey everybody, come on guys, you gotta give me a heads up here. This is Young Hustlers every Thursday on the Cardone Zone, noon East Coast Standard Time. This is the show where you get your sales right and your money right and your think right. If you've got that young hustle inside you and you wanna go freaking nuclear, you wanna go sky high with your success and your finances, this is the place to get it done. So I'm glad to have you here. Taking callers today, 305-865-8668, where the message today is that you can get rich working for somebody else. You just have to have the right steps in place and in order to get you there. Number one is you have to know for sure it can happen to you. You don't have to own a business. Most people give up because they don't own a business. It's the wrong thing to do. Number two, you have to know the math to get you there. What does that mean? Well, like, what is the math of you getting to $1 million in the job that you're in right now? It's going to be really hard for you to get there if you're not somebody who's in a sales role, which I think most of the people on this show are, but you need to have control of your income. If you're getting a salary, you have no control over that. You show up to work, you perform well, you perform poorly, you get the same check. The only difference is if you perform poorly for too long, they get rid of you, right? So you're not rewarded for going all in. You're not rewarded for production, right? So you definitely got to be in a position where you are compensated based on your production and your performance. Added to the back of that is you have to operate with the 40% rule. The 40% rule says that you save for investment 40% of your gross income. Now, we've also have done shows on this, and if you break it down through, really I think the number that it kind of starts evening out where it's actually real to do it is about 400 grand a year. A lot of sales jobs out there where you can make 400 grand a year, but you have to find the right vehicle, you have to be willing to look for them, and when you get in that opportunity, you have to be willing to squeeze the freaking life out of it. We have guys that make 400 grand a year here, guys and gals, both. But it ain't everybody, right? It's like the top third of the sales team is over 400K. So, you know, people come in here, they can't figure it out, they don't skill up fast enough, they're not committed enough, they don't have the right expectations, they don't set the right targets. I mean, a lot of things can go wrong. But the reality is that it's already happening, which means it's possible. So most of you are in companies where that probably isn't even real for you. Like if you need to get to 400K in the sales job that you have right now, what do you have to convert? How much do you make per deal? How many units do you have to sell in order to hit 30 grand a month or 35 grand a month, whatever that breaks out to be? You need to go through and you need to do the math to see, like, hey, where do I need to get to get to $1 million? So at 40%, 400K a year, that gives you $160,000 a year to invest with. You can actually start doing some damage. My first investment was 100 grand. I went 100 grand, then I went 150 grand, then I went 185 grand, then I went 300 grand, 100 grand, and then 500 grand. That's kind of been the track of the investments because I operate with this rule, right? Like I live really below my means and I pack as much money away as I can until the investment vehicle comes past and I drop my cash onto it. And we'll get to that later. So number two, you have to understand the math to get to millions where you're at in your current role. If it's not there and nobody else has done it before, then you're probably in the wrong vehicle. Number three, you must add massive amounts of skill. You have to be willing to commit to your personal development. Like I don't think you have any business investing money until you've invested at least 50 grand in your own personal development. Until you've actually laid out the money, you've invested in your self-development, I think that represents a level of, like, a degree of confidence in yourself. That you're willing to take on that investment, sacrifice the 50 grand that you could have spent on something else, vacation clothes, shoes, cars, whatever. You need to get your skill up, right? And there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. There's YouTube videos, obviously, that you can watch. I think I'd go for something a little bit on a more intensive, probably a higher quality material than just YouTube videos. So like Cardone University is a great option. Get to events, get to conferences. We're doing a 3-day boot camp here in Miami. in less than a week, 8 days from now. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's next week. The event will sell out. It's hands down my most favorite event that we do because of the amount of content that you get and how deep Grant goes. It's Grant for all 3 days. He talks about 10X, he talks about mindset, he talks about sales, he talks about negotiating and phones and follow-up and cold calling and sales processes and asking hard questions and like how do you put it all together and actually execute a plan when you get home. How do you get access to him for Q&A. It's, again, hands down, it's my favorite event. And a lot of people have been reaching out going, hey, I want to come, but that $5,000 ticket ain't real for me right now. So I want you to call Natalie. Natalie at 212-515-3772. Call Natalie, reach out to her via text message and tell her what you can pay. She'll work out a deal. She's authorized to make deals on this boot camp. I want you there because if you have the right skill and you're in the right vehicle, it happens fast. Like I said, when I got serious about money and I got committed to Cardone, I went from literally in debt to becoming a millionaire in 4 years because I had the right skill, I had the right vehicle, I had the right think, and I just went all out. So you got to start like looking at these things. You got to start checking these boxes off. Am I doing this? Am I doing this? Am I doing this? The skill piece is mandatory. You can't get around that. You have to increase your skill. You have to get better at what you're doing. And you have to do that through accumulation of knowledge. We happen to have the best products, in my humble opinion, the best products for teaching people how to make money and grow wealth on the market. Number 4, you got to become the guy or gal in your company that is like the person to go to. Like we're fortunate enough to have a few of those people in our office. But like when Grant comes to me, he has confidence in me. He has confidence that I'm going to be able to deliver what he's asking me to do, whether that's starting a new business unit, whether that's creating a product, whether that's something like he's entrusting me to go and do this thing for him. And so you have to become that person that can be counted on to actually deliver. It's really hard for you to get into a position where your pay starts really stacking if people don't trust you. Like Mike Bonnet in the back, like he's a monster. Like we know we can throw deals back to him and he's gonna figure out how to get them done. I mean like deals that are like really not deals, this guy finds a way to make them happen. He's a magic man. So you gotta become a guy or a gal in your company that's trusted. And then number 5, multiple flows of income. These can't conflict with your primary source of income. These have to be supplemental, parallel lines, no distraction from your primary flow. That's one thing that Grant has done better than anybody is his first income stream that he had was dwarfed by his second stream of income probably 5 years after he started investing. But he continued to feed that first flow of income, and now that income is really, it's pretty substantial on the front end of it. When we get back from the break, I'm going to run through a quick list of these callers. I want to answer your questions. I want to help you figure out how you can maximize where you're at, find out if you're in the right place in the first place, and then how you can get on the fast track to making millions where you're at, even if you work for somebody else. This is Young Hustlers on the Cardone Zone.
Nico's Computer Engineering is at the front of everything digital and technology. With the most advanced use of Amazon Web Services, artificial intelligence to predict your next sale, learn how to predict what your customers will buy next, learn how to know and automate your whole business so you can do one thing, go make more money. Tim Clark is the guy to know, a thriving entrepreneur and the mastermind behind artificial intelligent sales processes. Get automated, make more money, and grow your business with Nikos. Learn more at NicoCE.com. That's NicoCE.com right now. You sell products online? Are you waiting on inventory to ship from overseas? Do you want to earn higher commissions on bigger ticket items? With my hands-on training, I will show you how we built a $30 million business without spending high amounts on advertising. Achieve real results selling high-ticket products online with products made and shipped in the United States. Learn to generate millions per year online with Ecom Explosion. To start converting today, go to ecomexplosion.com. That's ecomexplosion.com to learn the fastest growing e-commerce platform in fitness, gymfoodstore.com. Brought to you by Harvard-trained MD entrepreneur and specialist in rehabilitation and regenerative medicine, David Carley, along with Zoe Bedford, experience in distribution and product development. Gym Food Store is your online marketplace for nutrition and sport supplementation. We give you access to the most effective products and nutrition, all while providing expert reviews and user education. Gym Food Store is here to help you identify and validate product selection so that you are not wasting money or time on products that are simply subpar. Learn more at gymfoodstore.com. That's gymfoodstore.com right now.
Mr. Cardone, this is Vince Del Monte. One of your sales guys just called me and asked if I'd got any results since your 3-day sales boot camp, and I said, you better believe it. It's over $200,000 in 30 days.
Without that boot camp, we wouldn't have had a good system in place, and thanks to Grant and thanks to that boot camp, we went from 200,000 to 600,000.
And since that boot camp, man, my income went from about 6,000 now to 11,500, almost 12,000, and this is just starting, man.
I would recommend for anybody that is interested in increasing their sales, increasing their profit, they've got to get to the next boot camp.
Hey, this is Young Hustlers. We're back on the Cardone Zone every Thursday noon, East Coast Standard Time. This is the place to come if you want to get your money right, if you want to get your sales right. I'm talking today about how to get rich working for somebody else. There's 5 things that I identified that I'm doing that is getting me on that track to getting like super rich with somebody else as my boss. I feel like I am the person that can help people do this because I've been there. I've done that. Like it's something like I'm really kind of owning that. It feels good, you know, like because I know it's something I can talk about because I'm doing it right now. Number 1, owning your own business is not the only way. You can get rich working for somebody else, and I'm going to be the guy that can help you do it. Number 2, you've got to know the math to get there. You have to be in the right vehicle. You have to be able to figure out like, how do I get my income to $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 a year? If you can't do that where you're at, dude, you better be getting some type of education or skill development where you're at that is invaluable, because if you want to make it big, you got to get up into those middle and high 6-figure levels of your income. Number 3, you have to add massive amounts of skill. You cannot delay this. You have to go all in on this. Your first 50 grand is better spent investing in your own self-development rather than in putting an investment. Every day of the week, without a doubt, 100% confidence and certainty in that. Number 4, in your company, assuming you're in the right vehicle, in your company, you have to become the most trusted person. Again, we've grown this company from 3 employees to over 100. We have a handful of people who are like the trusted go-to people. And it makes all the difference in the world. It elevates your position in the organization. People know they can come to you. They know they can trust you. They have confidence and certainty in you. And most importantly, if you become that person, the boss, the owner of the company is going to release more and more and more to you. Like I'm doing this show right now by myself. Grant trusts me to do the show by myself. He knows that I'm probably not going to say anything that's going to make him look bad or that's going to steer you guys the wrong way, right? And then number 5, you have to add additional streams of income to what you're doing. So once you get the self-development locked in, once you've increased your income so that you can apply the 40% rule, then you start looking for places to invest your income. And these should be passive. These should be like literally like it's happening over here and I don't even know about it. Like I've invested well over $1 million with Grant into the real estate fund. I never even think about it until I get my checks in my cash flow checks. I'm like, oh wow, hey, bing, I forgot about that. So you just have to get into this like, I'm going to keep growing this main thing, this singular thing that I'm working on. I'm going to keep growing that, and then I'm just going to start packing money off to the side. Right? Got to make a lot of sacrifices along the way. It's not sexy. It's not fun. Like, man, I wish I could drive a Ferrari. I wish I could. I wish I owned a $2 or $3 million house, right? But I know that stuff comes later. Like right now, I'm trying to do the deal where I can buy all that stuff without a job, right? And I think that should be a goal of yours too. Let's get to some questions. I've waited long enough.
You got Caesar salad
Cesar in San Diego, what's happening?
Hey, what's up, Jared? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing real good, man. I appreciate the call today.
Of course, yeah. So I guess I have just a question about, an inquiry about my profession right now.
Okay.
I'm sort of at a standstill as to where I shouldn't go professionally. I'm a bartender right now. I'm in San Diego, but I work over in La Jolla.
Yeah.
And right now, I tap out, and I'm kind of seeing the cap to my profession as a bartender. It's
Sure.
about 60 to 70,000, even working 2 jobs all day types of situation. I know I have that drive, but I don't know if I should keep on the vehicle that I'm at, pick up a second bartending job, and sticking at that, or going into a different vehicle, a different company within sales, because I feel like I'm good with people.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be working as a bartender, and seeing where I could go from there.
Yeah,
And I
so
know that you made that
here's
couple
what
a
I'll
few
tell
years
you.
back.
This is my opinion on bartenders. The money that you can make, it gets you past that point of struggling for money every month. Like, you know, if you're working on tips, a lot of your income is probably tip money. I don't know if you report that and pay tax on it, or if you just put it in your pocket. But you end up with all this cash. So let's say you're making $1,500 a week in cash tips. You know,
Right.
that's like making 10 or 11 grand a month, or maybe a little bit more in California. I'm not sure.
Right.
If you're on a W-2. So what happens is you end up in this kind of like this handcuff stage, because you feel like you're doing well, but you can't really get past that next level. And I think that's probably what you're bumping into. So what I would tell
Exactly,
you
yeah.
is, dude, you need to get into a sales job where people are knocking down big money. Not first year people. Like, you're gonna definitely go backwards from where you're at right now. You're gonna feel like you're going backwards, like, especially if your 60 to 70 grand is mostly cash. You're
Right.
gonna feel like you're gonna go backwards a little bit in the beginning, but you got to get into a sales job where the top folks are making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year. Even if they've been there for 5 or 6 or 7 years, you've got to be
Right.
somewhere where the opportunity is there to do it. That is the killer of the deal. If
Right. I'm
if
looking at
nobody
that.
else is
What-
doing
what
it, it's going to be
fields
hard
do
for you
think
to.
do that?
What's up?
What fields are doing that type of money, do you think? Because I'm looking into it, but I just don't know what field to look into.
Yeah, so like real estate, mortgage, solar, IT, there are a lot of companies right now, like startup software companies that like if you can get into a company that is stabilized, like they maybe have like 7 to 10 employees, but they have a rock star CEO or operator, those are the
Yeah.
opportunities you have to really like get in at the right time and scale something out fast. Like when I
Right.
started working for Grant, he had a name already in the training space, but when we started, there were like 3 or 4 employees. It was really early, so I was able to take on a lot of responsibility early on, and really solidify my position in the company with him as we grew. So it's
That's a good idea.
yeah.
Well, where I'm at right now also is I was planning on making I kind of went through the whole process of building a company, a bartending agency, to where we go to different corporations and show them craft cocktails. Because I work at a craft cocktail bar, so
Yeah.
kind of know more than the average bartender on cocktails. So selling that, and that would be a form of sales. But I did the math on that, the millionaire math, if you would. But and I would cap out also like at 100. So do you think I should quit what I'm doing now and jump straight into that, or do you think I should keep working at one bar and then
the people that I know that have done well as bartenders are the ones who use their, they work at nice places or at places where people spend a lot of money. So whether that's like a nightclub or a really nice restaurant or something like that, and then they use that opportunity to network and get connected with the right people, So, and then they find opportunities through that, I worked at a golf course and took a job with this guy because he was a freaking big baller. It was a manual work job. It just wasn't a good fit. But I used the job at the golf course to get connected with a guy who was knocking down, $3, $4, $5 million a year in income, and he gave me a job. So if you're gonna, I would suggest
off of what I'm doing now.
I would suggest stay where you're at and start looking. Get familiar with the way people are making money. Start using your platform as a bartender to get connected with people who look like they got their stuff together. And you never know who you're going to meet. You come into contact with a lot of people. All right, appreciate the call, Caesar. Let's go to the next caller. Who we got?
Martin in Germany.
Martin in Germany.
Yes.
Hey,
Hello.
what's going on? Thanks for calling the show, Martin.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Really great. So I'm, I want to say first of all that I met the Cardone team for before one week ago, and it's really awesome. I really have now, I think, by far the best and realest coaches, you know. So really awesome, and thanks for being there for us. You still with me?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I appreciate that. What's your question?
Yeah. My question now is, I have a situation where you might help me out. So I'm 27. I'm from Germany, and my situation right now is I have really no money. I have no social contacts, really like zero, besides my mom and my brother, and I have no job and no skills that I'm aware of, you know. And so my question right now is actually, I definitely need a job. So I watched the 12 tips on what I need to do to get a job or my dream job. And I watched these tips, and my first thinking was I need any job right now, first of all. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, well, I would just tell you this. You need a sales job. You need a job where the potential to earn commissions is high. And you need to go work in the type of industry or work for a company where the top salespeople in the company are making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year. So if you've got to go to a company like that and start in a position that isn't a sales position, then you should definitely do that. Because it gets you in the door, you can start learning the business, you can start learning how they operate, learn how the people that are making money are making money. I know we have people that come work here to do that from us here. Like they come here, they're like, hey, if I can just go get a job there, I can see what they're doing to make money, I can see how the people that are making money are doing it, and then they can start modeling that. So that's what I would suggest for you. Really appreciate the call from Germany, Martin. Let's go to another caller. Let's get another one.
All right, you got Drexel in New Jersey.
Drexel, what's going on?
Yeah, Harry, can you hear me?
Yeah, man, I appreciate you calling into the show.
Yo. Dude, I just want to say thank you so much, first of all. For like the last 2 years, I was working at Vivint. Your guys' like sales training and everything like that paid me a couple of thousands of dollars, so thank you.
It's hard to hear you, man. Can you talk into the phone?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, way better.
Okay. So I just want to say thank you for what you guys do. That's all.
You're the man, dude. Are you getting rich working for somebody else?
Dude, I am.
I love that. What do you do for work?
Right now, I'm in sales. I work at, basically I get paid a salary and commission, but I sell like inspection equipment to the defense and aerospace industry.
Yeah. What's the top person? What's the top salesperson in your company make?
Like 325, 350.
Not bad. Yeah. Have you done the math to figure out what it's going to take to get you there?
Yeah, I have, and I have done the math. It's going to take basically a lot more effort on my end and a lot more systems that I need to put into place. But I guess the reason for my call was because I have about $40,000 in student loan debt, and I know that you guys say like, oh, save 40% of your income, and go from there. So I was wondering, like, should I pay off the debt first, or should I, save 40%, or do both?
So I'll just tell you what Grant says about this. He said the first person you need to pay is yourself. And, like, he would basically tell you, he'd be like, hey, you need to call them, you need to figure out a deal where you tell them, hey, look, like, I'm going to pay you off, I have every intention to, but it ain't going to be right next month. And it ain't going to be, for the $40,000 that I owe you. So he would either, number one, just defer it and, let them do their deal to come try to get it. Knowing that he would have to go back and clean it up later. Like, you'd never want to walk away from anything because it's totally unethical. But, like, you got to get your situation handled. Like right now, there's nobody more important than you in your situation. So
right.
You need to get your situation handled so that you can handle the other situation. Like, it goes back to this thing that I posted the other day that everybody had different opinions on, but you need to be selfish until you can be generous. Like, you need to be selfish and focus only on you until you can be put in a position where you can be generous and you can, you can handle your issues and problems or whatever and, donate money and things like that. So either, number one, tell them, hey, dude, we're going to have to take a break on the payments for a while till I get my situation figured out. Or number two is negotiate it down and try to figure out some type of one-time payment option.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. I hope that helps. D. Next caller.
I have Kevin in Canada.
Kevin in Canada, thank you for calling Young Hustlers. Are you getting rich working for somebody else,
what's going
dude?
on? It's Kevin here.
Kevin.
Yeah, we've been talking on LinkedIn.
Oh, right on, man. You getting rich working for somebody else yet? You getting some of those Canadian dollars?
Yo, I'm working on it, bro. I'm getting it.
Love it. Hey, and if you're not getting it, if you're broke, you can say that. Like, you got to confront that. Like a lot of people a lot of people. Dude, I was broke. Dude, I was broke financially. I was broke morally. Like, I was broke in a lot of different ways. Like, you got to come to terms with like the fact of your situation. Like, a lot of people try to front. Dude, you got to be honest with yourself. You got to be honest with yourself and where you're at. And if you're broke, just be like, hey, dude, I'm broke, but I'm freaking pushing hard all the time trying to grow my deal. So, anyways, that's just a sidebar. Kevin, what's your question, dude?
Yeah. So I'll be honest, man. I'm broke, man.
Good.
And
thank you for that. Thank you for your honesty, man.
yeah, and so I'm working my leadership company, and the money isn't so hot right now, right? So I'm just wondering, when is it a good time to go like all in on like sales and working a job and then transitioning back to my business?
I mean, look, in my opinion, I think that like I would never walk away from a job. Like, I'm not the type of person that would just walk in and be like, hey, I'm out, I quit, and then go home and be like, okay, now what am I gonna do next? Like, you gotta like, you gotta figure your situation out and like if your deal's not working right now and you're not all in on it, then it won't ever work until you go all in. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have another job that helps you feed that. Like, if you work a normal like 8 to 5 or 9 to 6 job, like there's still a lot of time outside of those hours that you can work. Like, if you get home at 6 o'clock, you got at least 4 or 5 hours at the end of the day that you can commit to something, that can make you money. You can wake up early in the morning, blah, blah, blah. But I'd say like, I want to have money coming in, man. I don't want to go all in on something and be broke too. Like, it's the most defeating thing in the world when you're going all in and you're totally broke. I remember because at the beginning that was just my situation I was in. Like, I couldn't do anything about it. I was all into this one deal, barely making enough to get by. And dude, it's hard. When you're putting out all this energy and effort, when I'm putting out $1 million a year worth of effort and I'm getting paid $2,500 a month, it can be this like really serious internal battle you have with yourself, but you're making investments in the future, right? And so, move on down the line, it reverts, and then, you're getting actually paid for the effort that you're putting in. But yeah, find something that can pay the bills and then do the leadership thing, after that. So you at least have some money coming in, man. Nobody likes being broke. We got any more callers?
Yep, I got one more.
Who we got?
It's Gary from California.
Gary from California, thanks for calling the show. What's your question?
Yeah, man, what's going on? Love the show. Hey, I'm maxed out at about 55 as an independent contractor, truck driver, haul reefer freight. Want to get into car sales. What's your opinion? Thank you.
Well, I would ask you, number one, this is like an assessment. I did a whole show on this a few weeks back about like how to identify if you're in the right vehicle. As an independent contractor truck driver, how much are people that do what you do, how much can they make?
They're at about what I'm at, 55 or 60, maxed out.
Okay, that's as much as you can make. Then if that's as much as you can make, then I would leave and I'd go do something else.
Okay, I know I'm going to take a hit. I'd love to get into car sales. The economy's been booming for years now, so are we at the back half of the situation? Is it a good time to get into that, or should I look for another sales position, maybe in trucking?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you know the trucking business, then that would be a good place to start. Logistics is a highly competitive business, and it's like a race to the bottom. So I don't know what the average logistics person or a salesperson in that space makes. I'm guessing it's probably going to be between 60 and 80. But you want to get you just have to think with where can I go and get a job where the top salespeople, not everybody, but you got to know the opportunities there. Where can I go get a sales job where the top people are making $200 to $500 a year? You know?
Can I do that in car sales?
Yeah, I mean, there. I don't know how many car sales guys make $300-400 a year. I mean, I've probably met, a handful in my life that have, because of the math. Like eventually, you just have to start working the math. But you can learn a lot in automobile sales about selling because it's transactional. There's a lot of transactions that happen. And so, like, it's a good place to cut your teeth because you're in front of somebody and you're negotiating deals and you're handling problems and objections. And so it's a really good place to go and, like, figure out, like, how to deal with people as a salesperson.
Okay.
But what I will tell you is that you got to figure out how to get good on the phone, making phone calls, because, like, if social media fell apart tomorrow and you gave me a phone book, I could make money. A lot of people have gone online to make money, and that's the only way they can make money. And if, for whatever reason, Zuck decided to shut Facebook down because it got too far away from what he wanted it to be, a lot of people would be completely devastated. They wouldn't know how to do anything. So learn to use the phone to sell. Get in a job where there's enough transactions for you to work your sales pitch out, and then you got to start looking for an opportunity where people are cracking big money.
Do you think the economy is good for car sales, high-end, low-end, used, new, Beamers versus Escorts? Is there a difference?
Yeah, new car sales, the margin is getting compressed on new car sales. I do think that we're kind of at the top end. We're in what GC calls a super cycle. It's been this pending thing, like when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? Retail typically does get a little hurt, but that's the thing about being skilled up. Dude, you should find a way to come to our boot camp. Like, have you heard about our boot camp?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude. Have you gotten a ticket yet?
Dude, I'm on the road 28 days a frickin' month and home too. So
then you should take 3 of those days and you should come to this boot camp, because the thing is if you're skilled, you can earn in any economy. Like if you can fish or you can hunt, then you will always eat. So you got to figure out like how committed you are. Like that's why this personal self-development thing is so important. And I'm not talking about like hoo-ha, like, I'm all that, let's get fired up and motivated. Like I'm talking about like blocking and tackling, like picking up a phone and making a call, going and seeing somebody, asking for the sale, handling an objection. Like these fundamental skills you've got to get so good at. Like you have to become a student. God, my nose is itching like crazy right now. You've got to become a student of like selling and a student of people and a student of the marketplace and a student of like feeding yourself. Like you gotta figure it out, because too many people kind of just, they stumble along through life and end up with a job making $60,000 a year, just getting by. And then when the market gets crushed, they get laid off or their company goes out of business, then they're in a really bad situation. So I never want to be in that situation. That's why I have such big goals. That's why I work so hard. And that's why I think that I'm on track to get rich working for somebody else, because, dude, I've been broke before. I've been on unemployment. I don't like how it feels. I never want to be in that situation myself. I never want to put my family in that situation. I want to live a life of abundance. I want to live a super life. I want to create prosperity that can live on for generations. Like, I want to be the guy in my family tree that's able to do that for the next 5 or 6 or whatever generations. It can perpetuate. It can become old money. I want to be the guy that creates that. So that's why I show up every day. That's why I go all in every day. That's why I do things on the weekend for work. That's why I, whatever. Like, that's why I do it. Because I got a freaking big, massive target. So if you've got a big, massive target, don't give up on it, because you can get rich working for somebody else. I'm on my way to doing it. If you just follow along with what I'm doing and what I'm saying, I'm not making this stuff up. It's stuff that I'm actually doing. I get advice from Grant. I get tips from Grant on money, on sales, on people, on negotiations, and then I apply that to my life. Just do what I'm doing, right? And you'll be on your way. Bootcamp, GrantCardoneBootcamp.com. We literally have about 30 seats left before we sell out. We will certainly sell out before the end of the weekend. If you want to come and you can't, like, I do not want money to be the reason you don't come. Grant does not want money to be the reason that you don't come to the boot camp. If you have the desire, you got a little bit of flow, and you can make something happen, I want you to text right now. We are live on text messages. We're waiting for the text message with the request to come. 212-515-3772. It's like Christmas in July right now, because we're making stupid deals to get people to the boot camp, particularly the people that want to be there, right? So look, the only people who condemn the hustle are the ones that have already given up on the hustle themselves, and that's why we're here every week on Thursday at noon to help you get your sales and your money right. We'll see you next week.
Producers and creators are the sources of all value on the planet. MC Lobster, the host of the top-rated business and investing podcast Cashflow Ninja, is on a mission with Producers Wealth to help producers create, protect, and multiply their wealth outside of Wall Street in any economy by creating systems and processes that help them increase their production, provides them with liquidity, passive income generators, and opportunities for enormous growth. Learn more about their time-tested and proven systems at yourownbankingsystem.com. That's yourownbankingsystem.com.